All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Lady Raj, and this is the dialogue. Tonight, we are talking about a very sensitive issue, and I have a very wonderful person to take us through. Tonight, we are talking about genotypes and relationships, and we're talking about the issue of people overlooking or ignoring or neglecting their genotypes, you know, and entering into marriage. And so, I have little knowledge or no expertise at all in the field of medicine. All I know is what I've heard and what I've experienced. So, for a discussion as important as this, I needed a medical doctor. I needed an experienced medical practitioner to help us through. And tonight I have the honor of hosting again Dr. Sefakor Juliet Kpormegbe. Dr. Sefakor, or Dr. Sefi as I call her, is a specialist family physician and medical superintendent of Ketu North Municipal Hospital. She has 10 years experience as a medical doctor, and she's passionate to deliver quality health care to all, irrespective of age or social status. Dr. Sefakor is also the founder of Women in Prayer. Now, before I ask Dr. Sefakor to speak, if you can hear me and you're excited and you are happy that we are having this discussion, kindly drop some fire emojis in the chat box for me. Kindly drop some fire emojis. Yes, I want to see excitement. Let me see your shouting. Let me see some excitement. That's it. That's it. Keep them coming. And please click on the share button below. Please share the link. This is something that is very important. And so I would really love that you share it for all your friends and family to join the discussion. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. All right. So I usually I'll give a little background, but because this is a specialist field, I'm going to leave it and let Dr. Sefakor take over right away. But if you have questions, you have discussions, or you have, comments, you can please drop them in the chat box. I'll be asking her and then reading the comments as we go along. Let's close our eye for a prayer. Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for the opportunity to learn again, the opportunity to be informed. We ask that you teach us and help everyone who needs help. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, Dr. Sefakor, over to you.
Hello. Thank
Hello,
you.
Dr. Sefi.
Yes, it's good to be here once again.
Yeah, so good to have you again, Doc.
Yes, and my area, the network can just switch. So if you're not able to hear me, you just draw my attention to it.
All right, Doc. But currently we can hear you. So please, if you can hear Dr. Sefakor, let me see some love emojis in the chat box right now quickly. If you can hear her loud and clear, please put all
Yeah.
right. Okay. Thank you,
Thank
King
you.
Cole. You're welcome.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, guys. Thank
All right.
you.
So today we are talking about a sensitive topic because
Yes,
it
indeed.
involves both health and love and God and
Hmm,
everything in between. And
I know, right?
anytime we are talking about love, God, and your health, it's always a dicey issue, and people ask a lot of questions. So they want to go into the layman's term and understand sickle cell disease and ask ourselves that. well, if you find someone who is has sickle cell disease, would you have faith in God and move into the relationship, even if you are
Mm-hmm.
not compatible, or are you trying to put God to a test to
Mm.
see what at all He can do for you? So we would zoom into. I'm sure many people have heard about sickle cell disease. So to some people, it's just going to be a recap, a reminder, and some people they will learn something new. I pray that after our discussion, you can propagate the gospel to another person, and let somebody be
Amen.
blessed through you. Thank you for having
Thank
me
you.
again, Lady Raj, and
It's a
all
pleasure,
your
Doc. Thank you so much.
production team. So sickle
Thank
cell
you.
disease is a genetic disorder. And if I say genetic disorder, I mean that it is an inherited form of disease. It means
Mm.
it can be passed on from parents to children. So it's a genetic disorder that comes with the red blood cells looking like a sickle shape, like a half moon. So
Mm.
somebody will ask, so why are we talking about marriage? Yes, because it is inherited. It means that your decision today as two people, adult, can affect a child's life tomorrow.
Mm.
Because it means that whatever decision you have made is not about you. I hear people say, "This is my life and let me live it." But this time it's not going to be your life because you are going to affect a generation after you. So sickle cell
Exactly.
disease can be passed on from a parent to children. And the normal red blood cells that is in our blood that carries blood and the oxygen to every part of our body. When you look at it, it is round like a dome shape. It's round, it's flexible, it can move through. Its lifespan will be about 120 days. But sickle cell, as I said, it looks like half moon, like a sickle shape. That's a sickle shape, or somebody will say crescent moons. And those ones, they are rigid, they are not as flexible as the round ones, and they don't carry enough oxygen to the body. Because if a bowfruit, let's look bowfruit, the round donuts, you
I
see
like
how
that
the round
example.
donut, yes, that is how the normal red blood cell is. But when you bite the donut into half, then that is the sickle cell shape.
Oh,
So
okay.
that is how it looks like under the microscopes. And that one, the sickle cell shapes, they don't carry enough oxygen and blood like the round ones, and they don't last longer. Their
Mm.
lifespan is shorter, like 10 to 20 days. They are gone. So because of that, the sickle shape, I mean, it gets stuck in our vessels, in the vessels of the individual. It's not able to move smartly like the normal red blood cells. So you can say that sickle cell disease, we hear something like crisis, because when they get stuck into the small vessels, they block the flow of blood and it becomes painful. Imagine you hitting your elbow to the corner of the decks. That is how it feels. You see,
Wow.
you can feel that pain.
That's
So
electrifying feeling.
exactly. So if they are blocked, that means that there are no blood vessel to it. So you feel that a lot of pain. Can you imagine going through that pain for hours?
Hmm. Hmm.
Going through that pain for hours. I'm talking about your elbow hitting the corner of the desk. I'm not talking about just your foot. If your foot even hits a table, you feel the pain. But you can see that the
Yeah.
pain is different when it's your elbow.
Yeah. And why
It's
is
so
that,
painful.
Doc? I mean, before you go back to your sickle cell, what's in the elbow though?
Oh, that is a bone where there's no blood vessels in there. Like blood
Mm.
does not flow there frequently. So
Oh, okay.
when you hit, like there's no blood flow at that moment. So you feel the pain until the blood flow returns.
Okay.
So the same thing with the sickle cell. When the sickle shapes come and they are slow. So it's example, if you're in a queue going for food when we're in school, somebody is slow or somebody is in a watch queue and is buying a long list of watches, you know, you are
Yeah,
either bored, annoyed, or you leave the queue, isn't it? The same
exactly.
way when the so when the sickle vessels clock the vessels, they are sluggish, rigid, they'll come and pack, everybody's angry, the place become painful, and the sickle cell person is complaining about leg pain, back pain, and we are wondering why is it that only you all the time you have all this? But is it their fault? No. They are at that point, their sickle shape could not move quickly, so they are stuck to one side. So sickle cell disease is a sensitive topic because there are some traits, there are number of normal hemoglobin and abnormal hemoglobin. So we have like to make it in the late term, when you go to the hospital and you want to do sickle cell, first of all say I want to check my sickle cell status. You see,
Okay,
because if you say genotype, you might not. If they ask you, you can ask. I want to know whether I'm AA or AS. Those are genotypes
okay,
of the sickle cell.
okay,
So you can see that the A's are normal hemoglobins. They are normal. Then we have the F, hemoglobin F. That one is predominant in the children. The first year of birth, they are there. They are also normal. The abnormal ones are the S and the C and the E. So don't say that me there I am something S, I'm something C, because it's an abnormal hemoglobin. But the sickle shaped one is the one that is S. I'm trying to break it down so that we can
break
understand
it down.
the
Yeah,
gravity of the issue. And this
go
come
ahead,
into
Doc.
play it comes into play when there's a point mutation. So like our hemoglobin, they are full of amino acids, so they are arranged in a particular trend. But sickle cell, that hemoglobin is because at position 6, they say because of the glutamic acid is substituted for valine, then you get an S. But if the glutamic acid is substituted for lysine, then you get a C. But all these are mutations. They are not. That's not how it's supposed to be. But it happens anyways. So you say somebody has S and somebody has a C. So when you are growing up, you need to know what status you are in. I tell all parents that when you give birth to for the children, after even within a year, but after a year, you should be able to know the hemoglobin genotype, sickle cell genotype status of the children and
Okay.
record it. It doesn't change.
All right.
It
So
doesn't change.
I was going to go there, Doc. I was going to ask at what point we should ask. I mean, and I think that isn't not a test that is generally done at birth. When you give birth, doesn't the hospital just run that test for you?
Ideally, it's supposed to be run, but mostly
Okay.
we don't. So some
Okay.
hospitals make it routine. They run it for you.
Yeah.
If they find hemoglobin F, they will tell you to come back after 1 year to do it again. At that time, the F should clear and give way to A,
Oh, okay.
which is normal. So ideally, some hospitals do it. Ideally, everybody should be doing that. And children who are also sick in the beginning, you can see some hospitals would request. But ideally, it should be part of a screening test for all children.
Mm,
Even because
okay.
at times the mothers don't even know their own genotype.
Mm,
Uh-huh. Because in the
yes, that's
antenatal
dangerous.
book, there's a portion for that. But there's also only sickling sometimes only sickling test is done. I will explain why when you go to the hospital, don't only settle for sickling tests, but you have to ask for HB electrophoresis. You want to be sure that am I AA or AC. This is because AC also will present as normal sickling test, negative.
Oh, okay.
as
I didn't
AA.
know that. I didn't know that one.
So when you go and say, oh, cycling test is negative.
Mm,
The assumption is everybody is AA. It's not true. Some of them could be AC. AC.
okay.
So you have to go and do age. Tell the doctor that I also want to see whether I am AA or AC. I want to do the genotype to see my genotype clearly. So if you are grown up and you have not done that, don't just settle for cycling test. Ask for your genotype. You want to know exactly what your genotype is. Because I told that the C is also an abnormal hemoglobin, but when it's
Hemoglobin, yeah.
attached to A, it can show as normal, but in reality, it's not normal. Good. So we all have to make sure that our children have that. As you are doing the blood group for your children, you can just add the sickling status to know the genotype of your children, and let the mother and the father also do their genotype. So now the adults are grown up and they want to marry. So you've seen. Yes, so let me also clarify that all the crises I spoke about, we have some like vaso-occlusive crisis, which is common. We call it pain. Some of them have a pain crisis. You remember, someone say, "Oh, my head, my everywhere can pain them. Their stomach, their leg, and everything." At times, some of them, their spleens will be, we call it splenic sequestration, will be going on. Some of them is bone pain, the bone pain, and it can even catch infection can even affect it and cause osteomyelitis. Some of them,
Mm,
they they can even get a stroke from the sickle cell, and some of them too, they can equally get priapism. When you say priapism, the men who have erection, unprovoked erection for hours.
wow.
So you can see a sickle cell male in crisis, and his crisis is his penis is up for hours. It's not coming down.
And
It's
it's
part of,
painful. It comes with pain.
oh, it's very painful, and it's
Wow.
an emergency because we have to do a procedure quickly to remove the slow blood, the static blood, so that the blood flow can continue. So you can see that sickle cell affects every part of our bodies. It can affect your eyes with sickle cell retinopathy, the strokes, seizure. I mean, sickle cell affects everything. Our heart, it can affect your bones, all the organs, because the blood flows through all these organs. So you can see that sickle cell is a disease that affects everything and can alter your lifestyle, because sickle cell patients, they are not supposed to do excessive physical exercise. It can trigger
Mm,
the crisis. They are also supposed to drink a lot of water, because when they get dry, the vessels, the hemoglobin is not able to move well, so it to cause the crisis. And infections like malaria, or any kind of infection, sickle cell, they can get it in the severe form, and it can precipitate crisis. And
mm,
yes, and emotional stress, it could be physical stress or psychological emotional stress. It can equally precipitate sickle cell crisis. Alcohol, it can do that. Cold weather, some people, they say that cold weather, some people come and say that they have rheumatism. That when they say rheumatism, some of them they don't even know that they have sickle cell disease,
oh,
because in very cold weather they cannot stand it. They have crisis. So you see that in cold weather, we have a lot of admissions for sickle cell disease patients. And pregnancy can equally precipitate crisis. So when you are sick, you have sickle cell disease, then you can say that when you are pregnant, you are special to the doctors. We keep keen, we are keenly interested in your progress, and you can see that that's a high risk pregnancy, because the sickle cell mother can enter into crisis any day. That's why it's advisable that when you have sickle cell, it's advisable that you don't get pregnant too often, because the crisis can worsen. if you get a stroke, can you imagine
Wow.
having a baby and you are getting a stroke on the way,
Hmm.
or having too many classes that they have to terminate the pregnancy so that you can be free? Because pregnancy comes with a lot of stress on its own. So when you see people with sickle cell who have not given birth, or they have given birth to one, don't ask them when is the second one coming, because you
Hmm.
don't know what they have been through
What they
to
have
even
been
give birth to
through.
one, or not to
Wow.
even have one at all. So we have to be
Hmm.
sympathetic and empathic towards sickle cell people, because they need more care and love. So
Hmm.
that takes me to when you are dating. So when you are dating, the
Hmm.
question is, at what
Okay, Doc.
point do you? Yes,
Exactly. I was going to go there, but just hold a second or so.
no
For
problem.
those of us that joined not long ago, this is the dialogue with Lady Raj, and tonight we are discussing the subject of genotypes and the role they play in relationships and or marriage. All right. So I will ask that you please share the link with your friends and family so that they can benefit out of this discussion as well. Tonight, I have with me Dr. Sefakor. She's a specialist family physician and medical superintendent of Ketu North Municipal Hospital, and she is taking us through this discussion. Okay, Doc. So as we go on,
Yes,
you are just going to talk about dating.
yes.
At what point in a relationship should the discussion of genotype come up? I asked some
Oh,
people before we started the show, and some said that
okay.
it's one of the first questions they ask when once they start talking to someone they are interested in. Is that not insensitive? Doesn't it come across as um
They are being
you know
straightforward.
yes, being too straightforward? I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
So the advocacy we are trying to put across is that you need to know as early as possible. I
Mm,
mean, even in your circle of friends, normally we actually date our friends or those that we are close to for a while, even if it's a day or two. You need to, they are all your friends, and you discuss a lot of things. We advise that when you are discussing those things, discuss medical issues too. So
mm,
supposing you have about three friends and they are all friends with you, so in your normal discussion, you can equally bring it up. Do you know your sickle cell status or genotype? Because we are also interested in it. It's not being too straightforward. It's about getting across to somebody the realities of life. If you are
mm,
a sickle cell carrier, or yes, or you are somebody who has endured crisis before, you would even ask your enemies what is their sickling status, so that in case one
mm.
day they become frenemies, you know, you know that you have an idea where they are coming.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because this conversation in our recent world, we normally out we don't pay attention to it, because social media is telling us to ask other questions. But
Hmm.
if you are ready for marriage, or you are in the reproductive age, or as you are growing, even you are if you are a childhood friend with with somebody, I mean, parents should equally ask their fellow parents whose children are childhood friends with their children, what genotype are
Hmm.
we talking about here? Before people grow, because people end up also marrying their childhood friends.
They are childhood friends.
But if
Yeah.
you but if you know the genotype and advise the person rightly, the person would channel where their heart will fall, or where their love will fall. Because
Hmm.
love in its love that we show to people as human beings is a conditional love.
Yes, as human
Period.
beings.
As human beings, we show conditional love. Something of somebody would make you love the person the most. When they ask you, why do you love your beloved? Oh, because of this, because of that. That is why when they misbehave, it hurts us so much,
Hmm.
because you have hung your hope on something.
Hmm.
So this should be part of uh, part of our duties as parents. As you are parenting and you have seen a particular person coming, in fact, start telling your child from childhood that, oh, do you know genotype? You are so so and so. You are AA, you are AS. So that when your friend Ajua who is coming around, do you know her genotype? Everybody must know their genotype. You must be able to ring this bell, especially if your child is carrying any traits of sickle cell. You are
Of
supposed
sickle
to
cell.
remind them from childhood. So sickle cell,
Mm.
we have the pure sickle cell, that's the SS, which is followed
Yes.
by the SC.
Okay.
SC is
So,
the minor form of SS, but
Doc,
SC people, SC males,
Doc,
they are the ones who get the erected penile, that one, the
the
priapism.
S females, eh?
SC males, they have it more
Okay.
than SS, but SC is supposed to be the mother form of SS. Then
Okay.
they are the pure sickle cell disease. Then we have the sickle cell traits, that's AS. So AS is
Mm.
sickle cell trait. AA
Okay.
is normal. AA is normal.
Mm.
AC is half normal, half abnormal.
Doc, please hold on.
Yes.
All right. Okay, I'm seeing it. Okay, so Lovelace Brooks is a junior doctor, so I want her to be putting some of the notes in the chat box. Okay, thank you. You are doing
Thank
well,
you
Doc. You are
very
doing well.
much.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, I can see that. Thank you. Yes. So, Mr. Michael, there was a social media want to know body count. Exactly.
Yes. So.
You are looking for body count when you are supposed to know about genotype because we are not thinking about the future as
Yes.
people, as young folks. We're not thinking about the future because society has portrayed to us that the future does not matter.
Mm. We
But the
don't take
future,
decisions with our
yes,
children in mind, with future children in
exactly,
mind.
exactly. Exactly.
Mm.
So, I mean, when you have friends from childhood, parents, let's do good parenting. We are not even at home. We are chasing money. We've left our children at home. We don't know who they are saying. We are not talking to them. Their health, when they come to health, you have to ask that, oh, we've done this is your genotype, and yeah, so that they can, I mean, children can actually propagate the gospel more. They will go and tell,
Yeah.
hey, Akosia, Akosia, I've done my sickle cell genotype. Have you done yours? Akosia will go and tell the mother, hey, please, I want to do mine as well. You
Mm.
see, then when the parents get to know that your child is carrying SS or SC, you have to hammer into their heads from childhood who they would marry.
Mm.
We form our lives through words and what we've heard over the period.
That's right.
Yes, I mean, nobody came from, I mean, we were molded and shaped by words and guidance, and those are words. Do this, don't do that. When you tell your child that, look, because you are SS, if you meet any man or any woman, let the person be AA from childhood. It becomes a part of the person.
Mm.
So the aim is that know the genotype before you fall in love. That is why when you are seeing someone even on first date, now we call it date. Now people don't do friendship again. You meet on social media, you're having a first date.
The first date to first date.
First date, and a lot of
Just
things are happening on first date.
after accepting friend request, we go straight to first date.
Exactly. And you
No
not ask,
friendship.
yes. No friendship at all, because friendship opens you to all these discussions so that it will
Exactly.
not be seen as if you are being straightforward on the first date. But
Mm-hmm.
who created that first date in the first place? You are the one. You wanted to go and sit down and talk, unless your own is not about talking. But you have to talk about relevant issues, not body count or all those things. Relevant issues that will shape the future. But because many people are not planning for the future, they fall into the future. That if they end up getting pregnant, they say, okay, we'll marry. No. So it's important to ask as early as possible. And if you are somebody who is carrying the complete sickle cell SS or SC, please be mindful that you can only marry somebody who is AA. That one is non-negotiable.
Okay,
Even if
so now we are talking. So now we are talking about the compatible, genotypes, right?
exactly the
So the
compatible genotype.
compatible ones are AA,
Yeah, AA can marry anybody.
marry anyone. Okay,
Yes, AA can marry anyone. And
okay.
you must know that AA who is marrying anyone, including somebody carrying the sickle cell disease, must have the patience and the love to marry the person,
Mm,
because it comes with its own responsibility, its own care.
mm.
You have to care for the person, because as I told you, stress can aggravate the situation.
Even emotional stress. Hello, Doc. Can you hear me, please? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the dialogue with Lady Raj. If you joined not long ago, and tonight we are discussing genotypes and relationships. Okay, Doc is back. Doc, we lost you for a
Oh,
moment.
sorry about that. So I was saying that AA can marry
Mhm.
anybody. You can hear me now.
Yes, please, we can.
Yes. So you need to know that AA. So if you do the test, some people would like to repeat the test in two or more different labs. Feel free and do that. If you are given a lab result at one lab, maybe SS or SC, feel free to repeat it in two or three labs to be extra sure.
Hmm.
Yes, it's just good. It's just good. So you
Okay.
you have to you have to channel your love. You have to be strategic in loving. Let me put it that way. Because
Wow.
life has become so strategic that you have
Hmm.
to know who you are falling for. And
Hmm.
genotype is one, because the truth of the matter is that the number of crises children go through on the wards is so disheartening that if you don't
Hmm.
take proper attention, if you don't give proper attention to this topic, your life will fly away through the window, because you always be fighting in my consulting room or
Hmm.
my ward, because every week you are coming to the same ward.
Hmm.
And when you come,
And you see
you will
these
stay
things
there
all
for,
the time, Doc, I guess.
yes, yes, they are in pain most of the
Hmm.
times. And you come, the mother will come and sit down there, the father will come and agitated, and you are wondering, are these people were in love before? Please, there's
Hmm.
nothing like I love him regardless. Oh, I will be there for you. Please. When the reality hits you, all this conditional love will fly away.
Okay,
I
Doc.
mean,
So,
yes.
because we are time constrained, I would love for you to go straight away to the compatible and incompatible um genotypes. If
Genotype.
you can just list
Good.
those for us, then we can get
So,
into the Christianity bit.
okay. So I said AA can marry anybody. AA,
Mm,
you can marry anybody. AS, if you are AS with a career, sickle cell trait, you can only marry AA.
mm,
Because the S, you don't want the S to combine with another S or C. Because whatever you have, you share it with your children. There's a probability. Somebody will say, but probability is only 25%. It could be your first child.
it is still a
That is that first
probability.
probability. It's a probability. It could be your first child. So AS, try and give attention to AS. Don't marry another AS, or don't marry another SS or SC or CC, because you have an S already hanging over there. So marry an AA person. The same thing goes to the SS and SC. Don't marry yourselves. Don't say, "Oh, we are all SS, we understand each other." No, there's no understanding when there's crisis. Talking about if both of you have crisis at the same time, who will take care of who?
Mm.
So we love each other, we understand each other, because the journey of marriage or relationship is not the first date or
Mm.
dating. Dating is nothing. You are just enjoying yourself over there. The reality is when you get committed with the issues of life. And if you are CC also, you can only marry AA, and SC as well, you can only marry A. So if you are anything else, if there's anything else in your
It's
genotype,
attached to
don't marry
your
yourself.
genotype.
Yeah, don't
Mm.
marry yourself. Don't marry the same AS or SC or SS or CC. Don't marry anybody with an abnormal trait. Just marry somebody with the AA.
Mm.
Okay. So that one, so the compatible one is AA. Everybody should marry people with AA. So please, parents, please be well informed that
Mm.
if we don't marry AA and produce children who are also AA or even the traits, it means that our generation, as we grow, our AAs will be reducing.
Yes.
So let's try and produce more AAs and AS. AS is a
Mm.
trait. They don't have much crisis like SS and S.
Yes. Yes. Mm.
Yes, so those are the compatible, because AS is a career. And if you are
Mm.
SS or SP, you are supposed to visit your hospital every month for your folic acid and the other medications. Yeah. And be religious at it. Drink more water, sleep under mosquito nets, and avoid extreme weather conditions and emotions. Yeah. So Lady Raj, those are the hello? Yeah. Those are the compatible ones.
Okay.
So you know we talk about the religious part.
Yes, please. But before I go there, Doc, can I read a few comments and questions that have come in?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
All right. So let me quickly go through. Okay. So Deborah Johnson, she's a twin. She has a twin sister. She wants to find out if they could have the same, or like, do they have the same genotype or it could be different?
Yeah, it could be different. That's why you all have to check. Go and check for the HB
Mm.
electrophoresis for each. It could be the same, it could be different, because I said there are probabilities of formation.
Mm.
So
All
one
right.
can have difference or it could be the same.
All right. Okay. And also, where's one here?
Okay.
Okay, so Alice.
She said,
Okay, so
yeah.
Abishai is asking if you can speak about the rhesus factor.
The resource factors are not part of sickle cell. They are part of
Okay.
blood grouping.
Blood grouping. Okay, I think that's
Yes,
another topic for another day that we'll
yes.
probably have to
Because
look at.
people
Okay.
mistake the two. People mistake the
Mm,
two. So when it comes to hospitals, talk about the sickling genotype. You want to know whether you are AA or AC or SS.
mm. Okay, so and then Doc, it means I need to come, you need to come again for the rhesus factor.
Okay, no problem. Anytime.
Okay, so we'll schedule a time for that.
Sure.
Alex says this is so true. A family friend's husband told her just a week ago that he's even ashamed he married her. All the love
Mm,
has vanished because the bills
yeah,
he's paying now is just overwhelming.
I tell you.
Mm. And also, there's the question: is it possible, Doc, that two parents with AA can produce a child that has a trait? Because recently I heard a case like that. Um,
Mm,
and this person, the interesting thing is that he had checked some years ago,
mm,
and it was, I can't remember the exact um, genotype it was, but it was one genotype only for him to check recently, and it was different. So does it
mm.
change, or or that the lab he did it in was wrong? What could have gone
Mm.
wrong?
Yeah, so that's why I said that it's good to verify from more than one labs, because the lab could equally give you wrong results depending on how who is reading the electrophoresis at that time.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
I had a patient like that. So I had to let them go and come back after 3 months for me to repeat it again and try another lab just to get the confirmation. So it doesn't change.
Okay, so it
It doesn't
means
change because it is
mm,
inherited.
okay,
So
so it
you
was
should
a
go and check
wrong
in
reading.
another. Yes, it could be a wrong. It could be a wrong reading. Or it could be
Mm.
other
All
factor.
right. It could be other
Yes.
factors as well.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm asking if it is possible that parents who do not have a trait can produce a child with a trait. Is there any rare instance that could lead to this, or it
So
is just that? Mm-hmm.
in medicine, you can never say never, but
Mm,
with what that should be the rare form,
mm,
because if you have the amino acids arranged, it should give us a reading. So if the reading is AA, it's difficult for it to change unless the
wow,
baby is from another person. We have to also investigate that one.
wow,
Then,
wow.
if they are not sure, they can go ahead and do maybe DNA to see if it's their baby, both parents
Mm.
to equally see. But in medicine, you can never say never.
You can never say
Uh-huh.
never, okay, because
Yeah,
it's human beings behind it anyway.
exactly.
Okay, okay, okay. All right, Doc. So I think you can carry on with the. Now we can go into the faith aspect. So,
Okay. Hmm.
I have heard people who say that they are both careers, but they trust God, you
Hmm.
know. And well, I've heard testimonies, honestly, I have heard
Yeah.
testimonies of people's genotype changing.
Hmm.
So, Doc, this thing, are we not blocking people's faith if a church says that they are not going to bless a marriage because both of them, but because the churches require or request for these tests,
Yes.
just to be sure that they will not join two people together who later come back and then blame the church.
Yes.
So if it comes out that they both have traits of it, they are advised to go their separate ways.
Hmm.
So if two people insist that they trust God, they have absolute faith in God and want to go ahead, what
Hmm.
do you say, Doc? Because
Yes.
you're a woman of God as well.
I think that no church should ever say that they won't bless a couple who is insisting that they will marry each other, regardless of their genotype, because you have done the counseling for long, but the people are still insisting. You should allow them because they have enough knowledge. People genuinely have received miracles, and we have to make room for miracles as well.
Mm,
But but we also have to apply wisdom in allowing the miracles. And
mm,
how long are we going to allow the miracles to flow? And what is the intent of waiting for the miracle? People
mm,
hide behind church and pulpits and make declaration that they don't believe in. Let's be frank.
mm,
People have desecrated the altars to the point that their words mean nothing. Even their conscience rebukes them when they make some declaration. So if you have faith in miracles, check your heart first. Are you doing it for
check
public
your heart
spectacle,
first.
or you have the intent, you have that kind of a conviction that this one, a miracle is going to come?
Mm,
So it's important that we make room for miracle, but we have to make an informed decision. Bible says that can two walk unless they agree? If one
mm,
person does not agree that this miracle will happen, forget. It will not
mm.
happen. And if it will happen, why don't you wait for it to happen before you get married?
Okay, so that's the advice. mm,
Yes, you can if you want to put God to the test, no problem. You can do that and give God ultimatum that if you don't do this before this time, I sacrifice on this altar. And look,
mm.
these things would work. Because what we are trying to avoid is people forgetting that they are even Christians when the crisis starts coming.
Yeah, so
The people who is a prayer warrior has forgotten and is insulting the other woman. Are you the only one I should be with? I have job to do. So when
mm,
two people who are carrying the traits and also have a secret, it is advisable for them to apply wisdom. Remember, you are
mm.
not meant for only one person. Unless God come and say, if you don't marry this one, you will die or you will find anybody again. It has never been one
Hey,
to one.
that's a serious matter. Mhm,
Yes, it is always one to many. That is why when one person dies, the other person can marry. If you get divorced, you can marry again. People who said,
mm.
I love you, I will never breathe again without you. After the broken heart, they are still living till now.
Yeah, so
So at times we are moved by emotions.
mm,
We are moved by emotion. Make an informed consent.
mm,
If you want to toe the line of believing God, we will back you. And we would applaud you, but do that before the marriage.
mm,
So that it's not like you are clouded by love and you are just saying it. Do that.
mm.
Let God change your story before you get married. Don't make another uh, daughter or another person frustrated in because you are married to them.
Mm,
That's what I would
mm.
say. Let's apply
Okay.
wisdom, let's believe God, and let's expect the miracle, but make an informed decision. If you still want to
Mm,
go ahead and marry, at least you have been you have been counseled appropriately. You can allow them to marry, but you must always counsel them. You must always counsel them.
mm. By all means. Okay. All
It's
right, Doc.
advisable they don't marry, but
So I think another thing is that people shouldn't wait until they are close to marriage to check their genotypes.
yes, you fall in love
People
too
wait,
deep.
yes, and people wait till the church requests for the test before they go and do it. That's why Doc has
Exactly.
already said from the beginning that it's a something that if your parents didn't do for you, once you grow up and you become aware of it, you should go ahead and run the tests so that you are
Yes, it's
already
not.
aware of who you can and who you cannot marry. So I think that's
Exactly.
one of the things that causes the issues when you have waited until you've invested so much emotion into the relationship
Yes.
and now
Yes.
after 10 years of dating you
Hey,
have to break
it's
up.
more than
And also,
medical
but
things.
why will you date for 10 years? That one too is another thing. But we'll talk about that one later. Okay, Doc, so over to you. Please, if you have questions, if you have experiences that you'd like to share with us, you can either drop them in the chat box or you can send them to me privately if they are of a sensitive nature. If you also want to speak up, you can just raise your hand. I will make you a speaker. And yeah, that's it. Thank you. Doc,
So
over to you, please.
yes, what will you do when you realize that you are incompatible with the genotype, and how will you manage the situation? We that's why we cannot stop saying that. Know before you fall in love, so that you can direct your love. Because when people are in love, they do a lot of crazy things until
Thank
their
you.
eyes clear up along the line when situations hit them. When you know you're incompatible, please, I know it's difficult, especially the ones that are going through counseling already. You have bounced a lot of guys or ladies because of this person. You have invested money, energy, and time and resources into this relationship. Maybe you've even started doing a bank. Yeah, but I mean, you are doing a lot of things together before you even get married. When you get to know, what will you do? You have to leave. Oh. You have to leave. You have to go your separate ways. You have to separate. Yeah, you will cry. You have to cry. Allow them to cry.
You have to
After
cry.
crying, yes. After crying, you have to go your separate, because after you've cried and moved on, tomorrow you come and thank the person who separated you,
Exactly.
because the issues are real. I
Hmm.
mean, some people say I'm AA, the 25%. Some people are AS, and they both of them marry and they got all AA children.
Yeah.
Now, say that is a probability, but you don't know that you there, all your children will now be SS.
Hmm. And it's
So
it's
that's
not it
like
is
a
not a
gamble.
funny situation. It is not a
Yes,
funny situation.
it's not funny. I mean, you go through a lot. You cry,
Hmm.
you vow never to date again and everything, but you'll be fine. Get people to help you, counsel you, get a support group, get people that can understand the situation and help you through the broken heart. But tomorrow you'll be glad you did. That is why we are still saying that let know your own genotype before you start falling in love. If you are AA, to repeat it somewhere else. If you are still AA, please, you there, you can fall in love with anybody. But immediately there's an S or C in yours, please be mindful. Don't be shy about it. Okay. This one is not like, it's not HIV to say that it's whatever. You can prevent it from going on to the next generation. Because the thing is, it's not only you who will be coming to the hospital. You too, it will affect your work, your relationship, and your marriage. It might cost your marriage. You might even get divorced in my ward,
Hmm.
because the,
Doc,
the,
have
the
you seen
depression
any
is
such
real.
instance? Have you
Oh
witnessed
yes.
any such instance?
Oh yes, the man and the woman, they were coming to the children's ward all the time. Every week now they are there. It got to a point they nearly exchange physical blows. So
Wow.
we have to go and ask them. And when we call them, they were told, they all confirm that look, they are stressed, like like coping with the crisis. I think both of them were AS or something. The crisis was draining both of them. They were not focusing on their work. Now all the focus was on the child. Not even
Hmm.
both of them are not even part of the focus again, because they
Hmm.
just pray that the child can go 2 weeks without crisis. Because every week they'll come and stay there for 1 week. Then when you go back for 1 week, you come back again for another 1 week. So it's like 1 week in, 1 week out, and it's real. And the children too, they go through psychological trauma, seeing all this quarreling and stressful situations around them. They feel like they are a burden to their parents. Because it gets to
Hmm.
sometimes you might not be able to hide the emotions again. Like
The
these two
emotion.
parents of mine, yes. They nearly exchange physical blows, I tell you.
Wow. Hmm.
So the struggle is real. The struggle is real. If you're lucky you get the AA or AS, fine, but it's still a probability. So why will you be anxious and give yourself to chance? Outside the country, they might be able to tell you from the beginning of pregnancy, that your child is going to be AS or SS. Then maybe you
Mm-hmm.
can abort it or something. But
Hey,
Africa
well,
and Ghana, we've not reached that
that one
stage.
too, no. Maybe
Mm,
we need to talk about that as well.
yeah.
The place of,
So in advanced technology,
mm-hmm.
those who can afford advanced technology, they can check the genotype in the womb before the child
Hmm.
comes out. If it's SS, they'll tell you. If you abort, you abort.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
But that one, how many people can afford in Ghana? Mind you,
Hmm.
the people who give birth more in our African settings are those who don't have.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
give birth to a lot. So it's good we educate everybody we come across.
Hmm.
So as
Wow.
for the living bill, if you cannot stand the heat, please just separate and you thank us later.
All right, Doc.
But if you go into the marriage, because and it starts happening, then you have to stick together. Yes, and get a psychological help, because the stress might outweigh you. Yeah.
Mm, so much information here this evening. So much. Well, people, Doc, are you done? If you, I mean, I don't know. Are you done?
Yeah.
If
So if
not,
anyone has a question to add or
yes,
any
please. If you have a
contribution, you can
question
usually add.
or a contribution and experience to share, this is the time to do it. As we will round off within the next 10 minutes, we'll be rounding up. So if you have a
Mm.
question, you have a comment, an experience you'd like to share, please raise your hand. I'll make you a speaker and then you can share them with us. Given a minute or less for this. Anybody, please, if you have a question, kindly maybe drop it in the chat box or you want to speak, let me know and let me make you a speaker, please. All right, Doc, I guess everyone has got the understanding. So I assume we all understand everything that we've heard today.
Lovelace Brooks add something to it?
Doc,
Hello.
Dr. Elsie Brookman, do you have anything to add?
Babes, I have a question. Doc,
Okay, okay.
yeah, Doc. So in the case where you have people who happen to be married and uh, know their settling status and they are all high risk, is there
Yes.
anything medically that is possible to be done for the kids to prevent the future kids from also being high risk? Please?
Okay. Thank you very much. So, if they are already high risk, then their immediate children would also be high risk unless the probability favors them. So, supposing, but if you are SS and SS, you marry each other there, it's going to take divine miracle to change those ones. So, those children, they must start coming to the hospital early. So, every month from childhood, they have to be coming for their routine medications. They have to be on medicine all the time for their entire life. Then what you can help them do is to tell them from infancy that look, infancy, from childhood, that since they are SS as well, they shouldn't marry anybody SS. Anybody that come across them will be AA unless a miracle happens. But what you can do for them is that let them have the routine checkup from the hospital. Every month, let them go and have a top up with their medications. If they are in pain, don't take it lightly. Rush them to the hospital. Then we will, so and you must also know that they too their hemoglobin levels are always most of them low. So some of them might not be active enough. So you have to know the dynamics of the condition if you have gone ahead and know and learn how to manage it. Learn how to manage it. Yeah.
Hmm.
And pray.
Okay.
Yeah.
Babes, do you have anything else to say? Any? Okay.
No, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, please. I think Dr. Sefakor has said everything. All I would like to entreat each and every one of us here is if we don't know our cycling status, we should go and check it as soon as possible. We shouldn't
Hmm.
wait for things to be too late and for us to be hurt before. So we should do well to check it. Even if tomorrow it'll be a perfect time to check it. That's all
All
I have
right.
to say. Thank you, Dr. Sefako.
Thank you too. I appreciate that. Mr. Samuel
Mhm.
Mensah said, Doc, but true love overcomes all. Or, oh yeah, some people have
Hmm.
really endured some true. This one, true love endures all. That would be it. Uh,
It will overcome. It will endure.
it to endure this one because you have to really endure this to the end, and
Hmm.
always remind yourself that it was true love that brought you here in the first place. So
You.
that one, we have to keep reminding ourselves before we lose it.
Hmm. Hmm. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's interesting. All right. I think that we can end the session now. Thank you so much, Dr. Sefakor,
Welcome.
for coming again. And I'll bring you back again very soon because of the rhesus factor that was brought
For sure.
up. Because I understand that there are some blood groups also that are incompatible. So,
Yeah.
yes, if we could come back um, ASAP to discuss that, because I think that the awareness of that is not as high as the genotype awareness. I don't know. I think that's the situation, if I'm not mistaken. So, all right. Thank you all so much for joining. This has been the dialogue with myself, Lady Raj, and today we discussed genotypes and relationships. And my guest was Dr. Sefakor Juliet Kpormegbe. I hope I
Yeah.
didn't mix the name. Yay, I did it. All right. Okay, so this session is recorded, and also we are going to put it on my YouTube channel, that is Lady Lady, then there's a space, then Raj Rahj. So all the previous sessions are on the YouTube channel. So kindly subscribe and click on the notification button so that you can be up to date with whatever that is going on. So the dialogue runs every other week. So as we've had it today, we are not having next week. We are going to have it the following Tuesday. So kindly stay in tune with us. Stay with me. I'm so grateful for my executive producer, my husband, Michael Kojiabwa. Thankful to my sponsor, Modern Ministry Woman. Thank you so much. My flyers and all my artwork. She's in charge of them. And my biological father, thank you so much for the support all the time, architect Komna Emise Suman. Thank you all so much. If today is your first time, kindly join the house and kindly follow me on all my social media platforms. Thank you so much. It has been a productive session. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Doc. Thank you.